we live?
We live.
All right. Can't hear you, Bernard. You muted.
Can't hear you, but not.
Welcome to Bears Banter. Bears Banter is where Chicago Bears fans meet to talk about the Bears. Today on the broadcast tonight, we have myself, Bernard Muhammad, Guy Moore. We just lost Jay some reason. Keith Lloyd, and a guest tonight, DeMarien Hampton. How y'all doing tonight?
Excellent.
I'm good. I'm good. How y'all doing? Yeah.
We're doing good. Okay, welcome back, Jay and Jay Beasley here. Drop for a moment.
Yeah,
some
I'm
reason
here.
at the
How y'all
beginning of
doing?
the program, after the music played, for some reason my mic always mute, and I know it mutes everybody mic, but for some reason my mic stays mute. So a lot of times at the beginning of the broadcast, if you kind of see me moving my mouth, you don't hear anything. It's because the broadcast, for some reason, is holding my mic still on mute. That's what's going on. So I kind of like fake through it by moving my mouth until I realize y'all can hear me.
I got to congratulate you for last week's game playing for the Bills. I think he got like 9 catches, a touchdown. That was you out there, wasn't it, Jay?
Yeah, that was me. That was me in my dream.
He wasn't looking for soft spots. He was just standing by soft defensive players to make the catch.
He's like, I'm open.
I'm open. When I show you my hands, I'm open.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
Somehow we lost D Ham for a minute. Maybe he having a little connection issues as well. Sometime on Fridays we have that issue. But today we've been having some interesting things going on. I mean, we knew about all week as far as DeShaun Watson. Okay. But today we had a story that happened to break by. Ironically, our show today was actually going to be on quarterbacks anyway. So it ended up being a perfect alignment about what we wanted to talk about. So let me share a headline that I saw today from Ian Rappaport. Let me bring that into the stream, Plank. Okay. Make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, can you make it a little bigger?
Yep.
Okay. And bring it out. I want to see that headline some as well. The other way. There we go. And I got to print out. So this headline was on Yahoo News today. It said Bears have called Texans about DeShaun Watson trade. It said buckle your seat, Bears fan. It appears Chicago is in fact in the race to land Texans quarterback DeShaun Watson. In what amounts to be one of the biggest trades in modern NFL history this offseason. According to NFL Network and Rappaport, the Bears were one of 3 teams preferred to have contact Houston about a potential Watson trade. Interesting.
No, it's not.
My word for that is hyperbole.
Hyperbole. It's like that dude. You know what? B. It's like you got an Aston Martin, and we rolling up on some females, and I'm on the driver's side talking about, baby, you need a lift. You know what I'm saying? It's like it ain't even my car. But the point is, it's always you in a conversation. You know, it's like you in a $2 million conversation with $12 in your pocket. It just, I don't know, Jay. I'm sorry. I don't know.
We
want
to spend $800 million to get the girl we turned down to take it to the prom.
It's like you ain't got no teeth, but you want to get 400 pounds of chew bubble gum.
Pretty much. But
they say the only way you would ever own a luxury vehicle, they say you got to go test drive at least first.
You got to go test drive it first, right? You got to test drive it first. But let me tell you something. I'll start this conversation off.
Okay.
The Bears can't mortgage their future.
Right.
The Bears can't mortgage their future on DeShaun Watson. You know, I could actually see if they was in a Jacksonville situation where they had $77 million under the salary cap. They had a plethora of draft picks, but they can't afford to mortgage their future on DeShaun Watson. Because as we said before the broadcast, if you mortgage your future, you bring DeShaun Watson into the same situation that he is in Houston. You ain't got nobody to protect him. You ain't got nobody to catch no passes, and you putting him in the same situation. He actually, as much as I like DeShaun, he's prone to injury, so you can't put him in that situation. And as I say, as a Bears fan, we can't mortgage our future for DeShaun Watson because the bottom line is, what is it going to cost? We talking about a number one this year, number one next year, a number two next year, possibly a starting player. And to be honest, I really don't think the Bears are going to be in the running for this anyway, because Houston would be crazy to make a trade with somebody that they can't get a starting quarterback, at least a starter quarterback, a bridge starting quarterback back in the trade. So that's my opinion. We can't mortgage the future.
I got a question for you on that, Jay.
Uh-huh.
Is this the same Houston that got rid of one of the top wide receivers in the NFL for a box of popcorn?
Ooh. Oh, you're so generous. You mean popcorn?
Hey, you know what? You froze. You froze, Frank. You froze, Frank. I didn't hear the question. What was it?
Is this the same Houston that got rid of one of the top wide receivers in the NFL for a box of popcorn?
Yep. It's the same Houston. It's the same Houston.
And then fired their coach after 4 games.
Right, because he was the coach and the GM, which is why they're in the situation that they in.
Okay, I actually have another question for you, Jay.
So, okay, hold on, Keith. So now you got my wheels spinning. Like, so do you think we can actually finagle? Can we actually finagle Houston into giving us DeShaun Watson without giving up a whole lot? I don't know.
We're not going. You know what? I think we can get out there without playing market value. Here's my question before we get into too much to DeShaun Watson. Name the last team that won a Super Bowl without a top 10 quarterback.
Doug Williams, Washington Redskins.
No, we talking about recent. A top 10 quarterback. The Buccaneers won the quarterback with Nick. Okay.
Exactly.
I was actually trying to go back to say Brad Johnson, but Nick Foles, that's real current. That's 3 years ago.
Right. Right. That's in today's NFL. So the NFL has changed so much that they overprotect the quarterback. So you almost have to have a decent player at that position. Otherwise, you don't have a chance. Your entire franchise doesn't have a chance to compete.
Yeah. Because your quarterback is basically, regardless of how many players you got, regardless of what you want, the truth of the matter in offense, man, the quarterback is the one that's basically running the show. He's the eyes, he's the brains. He's a lot more important. And when you're structuring your offense, I mean, I understand if you have lights out running backs and receivers and stuff like that, but he's the guy that's going to have to actually mesh all of them, make it work, and make it cohesive. So if he sucks, then you could have Road Runner and Wile E. Coyote as your outs. They ain't going to never catch a pass.
Okay. Hey, let me do this so we can get everybody on the same page as far as information. I want to show DeShaun stats to give us an idea of what we talking about here. Let's go to the next page. Plank. I'm sorry. Put my glasses on so I can see this. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, let's look at this here with DeShaun Watson. 6'2", 215 pounds. He threw for 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he take care of the ball pretty good. A 70.5 QBR. This year, DeShaun attempted 544 passes, completed 382. His average pass was 8.9 yards a throw. Career-wise, which I believe this is his fourth year.
Yep.
It's his fourth year. Yeah, fourth year. He's thrown for 14,539 yards, averaging 8.3. He's thrown for 104 TDs, 36 interception, and remember he actually missed most of their first year, right, from a leg injury.
Yep.
These are very, very impressive stats. While leading passers in Chicago Bears history, at least in recent history, is Jay Cutler. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm not even sure he threw in 4 years with the Bears. He played longer than that. I don't think he had 14,000 yards in 4 years.
You know what? The font was real little, but all I saw was crooked numbers in the right spots. It just lets me know that his numbers are ridiculous.
Right. Oh, okay. Dehan, we got your mic is mute. Okay, you got mute on your side. Let us know when you want to say something. Okay. I know you got the little ones there. So anyway, this is an interesting discussion, and anybody who's watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch TV, if you put your comments in the comment sections as we see it, we'll read it online. But I do agree with Jay that what would the Bears have to give up in this trade? One thing we got to realize is Houston is stupid, but they ain't that stupid.
Right.
You're going to have to give up. You got to give up something.
Right.
You got to give up something. And if you look at what is the value that you want, Houston, and you got to remember DeShaun actually still drives the car in this situation. He has a no trade clause, but just look at some of the teams that's in this race. The Bears pick this year is 20th, but you have teams like the Jets, Atlanta. Who else is in there? You have the Jets, you have Atlanta, you have Detroit, you have the Eagles. You have teams who actually are drafting 2, 3, 4, 5, who actually could give up a pick that high and could give them back a quarterback in that trade. And also Miami is in there running too. Too. So Miami
Which I think was the perfect spot for him.
Mm-hmm. Miami may be perfect spot. They give up Tour, but I'm gonna throw something that I know. I know we advocating for the Bears. I actually like Atlanta for them. Atlanta could give them Matt Ryan as the bridge quarterback, and look at the 2 receivers he have throwing to, and I think Atlanta is what drafting somewhere between number 4 or 5, something like that. Atlanta's drafting pretty high.
Let me make sure I understood what you just said. You said you want Matt Ryan to be a bridge quarterback?
No, I'm saying that Atlanta could be a situation that works out for the Texans. They could trade
because Matt Ryan could be a bridge quarterback for the Texans.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Quarterback for them, right? And they're still drafting early, but DeShaun, he got 2 top receivers right away. So, and he got a warm place, right? He's not going to cold New York that he knows, going to New York in reality, the Jets. To me, that is going from one bad franchise to another bad franchise.
Right.
So you just made my head spin right there. I'm just thinking of right now, what would happen with DeShaun Watson and Julio Jones? That would be like a video game, man.
And Julio
Jones, he's on Calvin Ridley too.
Oh.
Yeah, really.
He's on Calvin Ridley too.
Yeah, but see, the reason why I say Julio Jones is to make Cal really say, man, I'm gonna have better numbers than he is if you bring that boy out here, because they're gonna be trying to double Julio up, and that's like worse, man. That's almost like choose between getting shot with an M16 and getting shot with an M16. It's like you're gonna lose either way. You double either of them guys. That's a beautiful situation to have, man. But that's a real. I didn't even think of that. B. That's a real good option.
That is a good option.
Yeah, it is. It is. And even the Miami Dolphins option is a pretty good option because they got some pretty good. They got some pretty good wide receivers over there too. That's establishing themselves. Right. They got and their playoff team. So if you can leave the Texans and go to somebody that's a playoff team or even close to a playoff team, you already on the winning side of the trade.
You want the cherry on top of that ice cream, Jay?
What you got?
What's that?
Walk up as an owner, knowing your playoff team and all that stuff. You sit down, and look at them. Don't even say hi. Just say South Beach, and he'd be like, warm weather. Food, Cuban food off the chain. Your team is on the cusp of possibly doing something good. I mean, that's just attractive like it ain't nothing.
And no state taxes, right?
Man.
No state taxes. Right.
Come on. And you like a sneeze from Jamaica and Cuba and all that other stuff. See, Jay got so excited, he went disappeared. He about to run some goals.
Jay couldn't take it no more. Like, woo! Okay.
You know what? And that was a 10 and 16 that played two quarterbacks. They didn't make the playoff because the 7 seed in the AFC was 11 and 5 team. Mm-hmm, but that was a 10 and 16 that played two quarterbacks. And it sounds like the players in Miami really don't dig to it.
Right.
So the players have been.
Well, it sounds like it sounds like the organization ain't digging to him. It ain't just the players. It sounds like the organization ain't really digging him. So.
Yeah, that looks like that trade definitely makes sense from a football perspective. That's why I don't think Houston's gonna do it.
Because it makes sense. Because
it makes sense. It would work out for everybody.
Man, hey, do anybody think Houston is going to call his bluff? Anybody think Houston is going to call his bluff?
I don't.
Kind of lose though.
No, I think some teams will throw. I think some teams will throw a lot at Houston. Get close to that draft. If they're smart, they'll hold on to them. Just looking back at the Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs. It was brought to my attention a few days ago that the Chiefs had to do some trading up, getting rid of people just to get Patrick Mahomes. So I see a lot of teams making some moves, doing some shit. I think we would have to give up so much.
Yes.
I think it's a long shot. Well, I love DeShaun Watson here. I would love him here, but I think it's a long shot. But I think some teams are going to move some pieces. They're going to move up. Get some draft picks. Houston, they can a fresh start, new coach there,
new GM,
new GM. They can do some things, but I think that I agree they're going to need that bridge quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but the question I still have is, can we be a dominant team without a top 5 quarterback? If the answer you come up with is no, then you don't really have a choice but to make that move.
Make what move, Keith?
I'm gonna argue.
You had to mortgage your future in order to get DeShaun Watson right now.
Hey, let me get
what you got.
DM some scenarios.
Go
ahead, guy.
I don't really have scenarios, I don't want to get into the quarterback talk for the Bears. I don't want to get too far into it, but I lean more towards the support. I think that support is needed more than the quarterback. And you probably disagree.
No, I totally agree.
And a lot of people disagree. But I stand on the side that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes without the supporting cast. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But
I agree.
Totally agree.
Hey, you sound like you got a little static. I'm not sure, but I hear a little bit on my side. Okay. But hey, let's look at this before we move to the next topic. We saw the salary caps last week, and Jay really was right on point when he said we're salary cap hell. But if you look at what would the Bears have to trade, you still got to look at what would the Bears have to do to make cap room. So if they have to make cap room, I would think the easiest thing to make cap room would be to trade, because if you do anything else, you're gonna be hit with those that salary cap, right? If you're just cutting people. But if you look at what the salary is constructed, from my opinion, I believe you would have to give up picks. You would have to give up Mac. You may have to give up Eddie Jackson. And give up those 2 persons.
Cal Fuller.
Yeah, maybe Cal. You're going to have to give up enough just to put DeShaun's salary, just so you can have his salary and sign your own draft picks that you draft in 2021.
And you just mentioned all the major players from last season on defense. So it's like.
No, you didn't, because you included Eddie Jackson. He ain't major nothing.
Major money.
Well, probably the first thing the Bears. The first thing the Bears will probably do is snatch me and Bernard out that Aston Martin and put that Aston Martin up first and just leave us in the street. But man, it's you know what though, man. Something I thought about which was really interesting is the fact that kind of sort of touching on what D Hamp said. You ever hear about these people that always talk about like in relationships? It's like, oh, I want this type of woman. Oh, I want this type of guy. They got to be between 5'6" and 5'8". They got to be this and be that. And the question is not asked is, what are you bringing to the table? And they really ain't got nothing. You know, so you kind of like right now with our cap situation, I mean, like you said, the supporting cast are like really important. But what do you guys suggest? What do you guys think we should do from a quarterback standpoint this year?
It's going to be very difficult because, like I said last week, the Bears got $115.5 million on that defense and almost $35 million on that offensive line, which is just sad to say. I don't know. I don't have an answer. And y'all tease me all the time when I be like, I don't know. On this question, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do. They got $10.5 million to spend under the cap right now. And that's with $7.5 million brought over from the 2020 season. I don't know. Okay. I have no answers, and I'm sitting back, especially as a season ticket holder. I'm sitting back watching because I told one of my coworkers last week, like, I don't even know if I might just kind of let my season tickets go for real because I don't know what this is looking like. It don't look pretty. It don't look pretty.
Okay. You know what? And what I was thinking about too is I think a lot of times people are getting really excited about DeShaun Watson and Dak Prescott. Me, I'm not, and the reason being is I looked at the salary situation, but then when Jay came on, it just basically broke it down. I'm like, I don't even think about them anymore. You want to know why? Because, like I said, I don't want to look at something that I can't have. Number one.
Yep.
Number two, my particular situation, what I look at, like I was talking to you guys off camera, I said, you know, people laugh at me for saying this, but what you got to ask the Bears, we got to see what the Bears are trying to do. Are you guys trying to build a playoff team and go for where you are and build up, or are you trying to rebuild? If you're trying to rebuild, then do what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? But if you're just trying to basically complement some pieces to go back to the playoffs and try to consistently build through the draft and stuff like that, and as years come, get stronger and stronger, get your quarterback that you think can run an RPO. Get a quarterback that's okay with the whole jet blitz. Anybody that can, which should be any quarterback coming into the league, but, you know, as we've seen, that's not. Get a person that you think of as probably got some pretty decent wheels. They don't have to have 4.4 speed, but somebody has a propensity to look up, and if they see the routes are covered and there's nothing hot, that their mind's eye automatically tells them to take off. You know what I'm saying? And you could probably find a guy like that. It is a Band-Aid, but for what I'm seeing on the free agent market right now, it's like you got to make a choice because it's a lot of guys that you really want. They way out of our price range, man.
Okay, I got something to say.
Let me share this at the bottom. We have one of our YouTube viewers says this is suggestion. We have 3 options: sign Dak, use the 8 pick around him. He said use 8 picks around him. Trade for Watson, trade up for Fields / Lance Wilson. Okay, he wanted to do a whole lot of creative stuff here.
Okay.
Hey,
but that's still.
What you got? We gonna move.
Here's what I got. Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
I think the Bears' only and best chance is to back into a franchise quarterback through the draft. So whoever they end up drafting, you're gonna have to hope and wish that they actually found a gem through that draft process. When's the last time you had a major quarterback that you acquired via free agency or what have you? That doesn't really happen a whole lot, especially the way the league is structured now. So our chances of getting DeShaun Watson, I don't think we really have a chance with that. The best chance is whoever's in this rookie class, that person is actually outperforms his contract and outperforms his draft position, and the team can build around that. I know it's sad, but that's what I come up with, especially relative to what Jay shared with us last week about the salary cap. We don't have a lot of options.
And you know what? Guess what? guess what? It's our truth. Because guess what? We could have had Dak Prescott in 2016. We had fourth round. We had 3 fourth-round picks in 2016, and we passed up Dak Prescott every time. Then in 2017, we passed up, which y'all know I don't harp on this, but we passed up DeShaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. And now in 2021, we talking about the same players we passed up in the draft. We trying to get in a trade.
Thank you. Yep.
How sad is that? That's totally.
It's pretty sad.
Sad.
But
Right.
What you got to?
I'm sorry, B.
Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know we getting a little delay. I'm sorry for cutting off Jay. I was in a little delay. I thought you finished. I just want to play this right quick, and then we're gonna move to the next topic. Just kind of recap a few things that happened this year through the seasons on Bears Banner.
They pulled this off tonight.
Bears Banter, where the fans go to share their views on the Bears game. 2 days before the game is the prediction show. Tune in at 7 p.m. for Football 101. Be sure to catch the post-game show 30 minutes after each game on Facebook and
One thing I would say about the
YouTube.
Bears,
You too can be a part
every
of the
screen
Bears.
is in your
Be sure
playbook.
to like,
Burn
share,
it.
and subscribe
Burn
to
it.
Bears Banter.
The Bears cannot run a screen.
And that all was still true.
But no, every time I hear that Bears need to burn the screen, it just makes me laugh because that was just so true throughout the entire year, man. The Bears can't even run the screen. Did y'all see Taylor run that screen? Did y'all see Taylor run that screen last week with Gronkowski? They didn't throw to him the whole game, and it was like they needed a crucial first down, and they threw a screen to Gronkowski. He went for like 27, 28 yards.
Yep.
He did.
Yeah.
Like I said, hey Jay, hey, you can tell it was warm outside because you stay up there with your your arms cut off. It's like that dude flexing at the beach. How you doing? I'm real good. Where is it?
I'm good.
Right there.
I'm good.
Hey,
Yeah,
so let's look at free agent quarterbacks, and then we'll get to D Ham on when he discussed the Bears quarterback situation as he saw it this year. So, let's bring up free agents. So we know we can't sign. We probably won't be able to get to DeShaun. So the next thing is let's see what's in free agency. Okay, can you make that a little bit bigger?
Oh my God! Look who's at the top of the list.
Yeah, so I started with the guy we already have. So in free agency, you have Mitch Trubisky, Dak Prescott, Cam Newton. Let me know if any of these guys that you seem interested in. Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston,
At the women.
I'm sorry, I spelled his name wrong, but it's Jacoby Brissett. I put Jacoby Brissett, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Next page. Andy Dalton, Robbie Griffin III, Matt Barkley, Kyle Allen.
We had
And
that
I think
guy.
y'all are gonna laugh at this. Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy actually took about how many snaps did he take last year, guy? This past season?
Colt McCoy, 145.
Yeah.
Wow.
The shotgun.
Colt McCoy took 140 snaps this season.
Did
Teddy
we have
Bridgewater,
Matt
Sam
Barkley?
Donald.
Yeah, we did have Matt Barkley.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So let's then also you have available your quarterbacks that you could trade for. DeShaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, and Matt Ryan. Because they announced this week, the Lions and the Falcons both announced this week that their quarterbacks were on the market for trade.
Wow.
What y'all think? Anybody on that list?
Matt Barkley, man, he's good. He's already a Bear. No, I'm joking, man.
I'm glad. Well, see, you left the let off on Jacoby Brissett, and the letter was why. For $15 million, dude. For $15 million, and he had 48 snaps last year. I don't know, man. I mean,
Hey, that list is not impressive at all.
it's not, man. And here's the sad part about it. When you see Mitch Trubisky, it's like you gotta do a pregnant pause. It's like, oh, Oh, okay. That's tripped out, man. I never thought in my life that I would ever be able to say that, but Mitch,
that list is not impressive at all. There was
it's
nobody
abysmal
on that
for the
list.
most part.
There was nobody on that list outside of trading for DeShaun Watson, which we can't afford to do. Ain't nobody on that list impressive. Matt Ryan is old. Matthew Stafford is old and beat up.
Right.
DeShaun Watson via trade is the only person on that list that's actually wannable, if that's a word. But outside of that, that whole list is all has been hot garbage.
Well, and when we talking about DeShaun Watson, he was 12th in QBR. So there was 11 other quarterbacks better than him. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
So that might be an artifact of not having nobody to throw to.
Yeah.
But
what
is he gonna have here?
And the sad thing about that is, not to cut you off, Keith, the sad thing about that is what me and Guy was saying, hell, bring Mitch Trubisky back if that's the list.
and that's been my stance all year. Everyone's been looking forward to free agency. Who are we going to replace him with? Who are we going to replace Mitch Trubisky with? That's been my question all year.
And you look at his record last year, he didn't do too bad. He got benched, and I get that. But you know what? But if you take a guy who has more latitude, per se, more notoriety, they wouldn't have benched him. You know, and had they not benched Mitch, we probably wouldn't have been sitting up here struggling about wondering if we go get to the playoffs. We probably would have. Because a lot of times, I mean, if D Hampton would tell you, it's one thing to have a quarterback running your squad, but if you got a quarterback that's running your squad that the players, especially the offense, really likes, I don't care who you put in there. They can be, unless they like DeShaun Watson, as soon as you screw up, they're going to be like, yep, we told you not to bench him. But if you give Mitch Trubisky a year and let him do 16 games, we are going to, I will say this, I put this out there, if we're coming back with the same team, plus you got Tariq Cohen coming back, I will guarantee you that we'll win more than 8 games next year.
Yeah, but you burned your opportunity to bring Trubisky back when you brought back Nagy and Pace.
Absolutely. You're
so
absolutely right.
It's like you staying in the house with somebody that had robbed you and assaulted you 10 times, and you got to get along with them.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey,
you can't coexist. You cannot coexist.
No, but you know what? That's true. That's true. But by the same token, if the guys who hire you, basically, and you got a problem, and you might have a problem with Mitch, and the guy that hires you says he's gonna come back, and you like, well, Mitch, and then they put that gun to his head. It's like, well, Mitch was really such and such. You know what I'm saying? They're on the hot seat too, so they know they may not be coming back. And I know what you're saying, but by the same token, think about it though. With the free agents that we got and everybody else, if you give Mitchell 1 year, the first thing Nagy gonna say is, damn, you know, I'm about to be out of here. But I tell you what, and Ryan gonna be like, we both gonna be out of here. I tell you what, even if we suck, just go ahead and prove them that they're right and leave Mitch in there. And then when they win, they'll do the glory whore thing and say, yeah, I told you to bring Mitch back, that type of stuff.
Guy, you broke up with that woman for a reason. Last thing you want to do is see her back in your house.
I'm not gonna say it, Plank. I'm not gonna say it, but why do all these dudes keep coming back when these women mess up? W. You know, I ain't gonna even do it, but you already know. I'm just keeping it 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what y'all said is definitely true on a surface as far as what's available. Mitch is the best out of what the free agency there, but I don't think that.
How sad is that?
I think they've already made their decision. George McCaskey pretty much said everything. Like I said before, good luck on your next job. And I believe reason he benched me so early because he had already made up his mind. Foles was on the starter, and he just was waiting for the opportunity, or when he felt Foles had enough reps. So I think with that in mind, I don't think he wants to. Him and Ryan wants to lead their success to if Mitch plays better next year. I think they parted ways. I can see them bringing in they might bring in Colt McCoy before they bring.
Don't say that.
Paying a Coke 45 right
they
now.
actually listen to this show and they end up doing exactly what you say to do sometimes.
Hey, I didn't even know that dude was still in the league. I didn't even know that dude was still in the league. Him and what's the quarterback? No, I knew Matt Barkley was still in the league for some reason. I don't know why he was with Buffalo. But what's the quarterback, the backup quarterback from Kansas City? When he came in the game when Mahomes got hurt, I could not believe Chad Henne was still in the league. I ain't trying to go there. But I was just like, I cannot believe this dude's still in the league.
I tell you what, though, on the outside portion of our offensive line, I think what we need to do is try to find us a sleeper cell or something like that to take over for Leno, man. Because right now, like you say, what Tammy say, with Foles, it's like as soon as the ball snaps, he in the back doing this, already practicing like I'm gonna fall down. They're gonna need a sleeper cell, a sniper, and a mercenary on the line sitting next to them guys, man. Because I'm tired of seeing and I will give him credit at the end of the season, Leno started doing better. But right before he started doing better, you noticed when somebody got a sack and it was like Leno saw the camera, and he turned around and just grabbed two guys like this, like he was doing something.
But they're
gonna have to do something, man.
But all seriousness, we talk about the quarterbacks, we talk about trading and all this stuff. The Bears got to draft offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. And the sad thing about it is, if we go next week, I actually want to do a thing about the worst free agents or the worst drafts the Bears have, the worst 15 drafts that the Bears have ever had. If you look at that list. If you look at that list, out of the 15 worst draft picks,
Alonzo Spellman. I'm sorry.
10 of them was offensive linemen. Out of the 15, 10 of them was offensive linemen. So, as bad as we need a quarterback, the Bears need to build this team from the inside out, and it starts. I feel like our guards and our center, we got that kind of situation. But our tackles in this draft in 2021 is going to be deep with some offensive tackles. We cannot afford the mortgage. Again, sounding like a broken record. We cannot mortgage our future and not be able to build this offensive line. That's just my opinion.
You're right.
That's just my opinion.
I agree with you, man.
I think you're right.
Hey, let's get ready to move to the football one-on-one segment. Hey, and I want to show another recap of some moments in Bears banner this season. What we have right here?
Does it involve a TikTok?
Tammy 4-4.
Oh wait, we start out immediately at the Okay, we usually would beat in a little bit.
I hate to say this, y'all. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. The Bears might need to go back to Mr. Biscuit. And the reason I say this,
I just don't really know what to say. I thought when he came in that first game that he really had more presence and more composure in the pocket, and he looked like he did. But like the more that I see him,
I gotta argue with you a little bit on that. At the end of the day, we're playing football. It's a contact sport.
Yes,
if you got a problem with somebody, you go out and you execute a block and blast them to be ready to respond to the playground bully. Last week, they got
Bears Banter, where the fans go to share their views on the Bears game. You too can get a part of the banter.
In order to
Be
get
sure to
something
like, share, and subscribe to Bears Banter on YouTube.
God, I love y'all.
Damn, Jay, you called it even back then.
You know what? I'm gonna say something real quick that's really tripped out, which is really prolific. Every last one of us during the course of this season has made suggestions and said something. I even got one last week. Remember, I was saying, like, thinking outside the box. I said, we can't draft. We can never find good quarterbacks. Why don't you just go ahead and just pay somebody to be contracted who's actually had a history of being able to find quarterbacks and bring him in to do your draft to get your quarterback, and that's it. 2 days later on Sports Mockery, they said the same thing. I had to check the date. I'm like, I must have been sleepwalking or drinking something. I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe it's osmosis or lucky, or maybe they're watching Bears banter.
They're watching Bears banter on the down low. They're watching Bears banter.
They clearly are.
Hey, so with that clip, Jay said that the Bears needed to go back. This was after about 2 games that he was saying that they may need to go back to Mitch. So I thought since D. Hampton came on earlier in the season on 2 football one-on-one segments and talked about football, not football, but talked about quarterback play, I thought it'd be fitting to bring him back on here to do analysis of what he saw as far as fundamentals, decision making, they was coach. If you could share with us your expertise. And for those who have missed those 2 shows, DeMarien Hampton was a college quarterback. He actually has some records that he still stands today, and also he played a few games in the Arena Football League as a background. So anyway, can you it's all yours, D-Ham, whatever you want to say.
Before he even say that, we got our quarterback next year. D-Ham,
right.
Come on, man.
Go ahead.
We got our Bears.
Go ahead,
man, glad to be back. Glad to be back. Always excited to be here with you guys. But jumping right in, talking about quarterback and our beloved Chicago Bears. First and foremost, I must state, as a diehard Bears fan, looking at the quarterback position, we have to take into consideration just the expectations here. I think our expectation for this position in this city is extremely high. We've never had that guy. We've never had that quarterback.
Amen.
And it shows. You know, if we look at we talk about records, Mitch Trubisky and Jay Cutler holds our records.
Yep.
And we've never
Lookman.
We're not that team,
which was before our time.
Yeah, so
yours.
I think we need to look into our culture and our climate of who we are as Bears. We're monsters of the Midway for a reason. And it may sound weird coming from me, an offensive guy, a quarterback, but we got to build defensively and our run game. That's who we are.
That's who we are.
Good thing is, I think we have a solid foundation in place. I know we're talking about quarterbacks. I wasn't a fan of Montgomery early on, but it looked like when the offensive line got some continuity and came together, we was able to run a football. And you build from that. You play action. I know, you guys talk about it all the time. Play action. Do something different when we talk about Nagy offense. But you have to build from that. But getting back to this quarterback play, I want to do a few things. First and foremost, 2 things stand out to me. What stands out is the first game of the season and a situation on the sideline halfway through the season. First game of the season, I seen a comeback by number 10. I call that Mitch Trubisky. Our offense really wasn't doing anything. And he struck a comeback. Granted, it was against Detroit Lions, but he came back. The second is it was Nick Foles that took over at quarterback, and it was an exchange of words. I wish I could tell you what those exchange of words was on the sideline, but that was instrumental in just getting an inside look on what's going on in that quarterback room.
Absolutely. So,
since day one, Mitch Trubisky's argument has been they're not doing what I'm comfortable or accustomed to doing. You're not putting me in a position to succeed.
Absolutely.
And from I can't blame a player for doing something that he's just not capable of doing. How can that's like looking at a kid and getting mad at a kid for not being able to do something that they're not capable of doing, or asking them to do something that you haven't taught them to do. I'm not even gonna get into development, which is non-existent in Chicago.
Speak on it.
We don't develop players.
Speak on it.
So
Speak
draft,
on it.
I don't even look at the draft because we just can't develop players. Plank, I seen you mention Eddie Jackson a few times.
Stealing money.
But going back to so you have to do what these guys are comfortable doing. So Nick Foles, he was a veteran. He was able to have that conversation and get to Nagy and say, hey, this is on you. I don't know what those exchange of word was, but that tells me something is going on in the quarterback room when there's a disagreement with the head football coach and play caller. That shouldn't happen. Now we see players have exchanged words with a position coach, which still that's an issue. But when there's exchange of words with the head football coach, the play caller, and the quarterback, two people that should be calm, cool, collect on the sideline, there's a major issue there. So that's that. But so those two things stand out. That come back and Nick Foles coming in. So I guess we can. I know you mentioned fundamentals. I really can't get into fundamentals because Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky, they were terrible all year. Which the offensive line had a lot to do with that. We seen both of the players throwing off their back foot. We seen both of them, making just bad decisions. So I know we're here to talk about quarterbacks, but you cannot talk about the player quarterback without mentioning play calling and the supporting cast.
Good job, D-Ham.
So I'm gonna try my best. I have my my laptop here. Maybe if I would have prepared, I could have sent it beforehand. But I'm gonna show a highlight, and I'm not big on highlights. I rarely ever show highlights, but I think it's appropriate for this point I'm trying to make here. The highlights. I want you guys to look at the separation of defender to receiver. That's one. So they call it next gen stats. So we're talking about some guys getting paid a lot of money to watch every game and to determine how many yards away how many yards is the nearest defender. And I'm sorry I don't have that statistic with me, but I want you guys to look at these highlights and look at the nearest defender to these receivers. 1, 2. Look at the time in which this kid has to throw the ball, which is significant compared to what we've seen. So we're talking about what we're doing at the quarterback position, what we're going to do in the draft, who we're going to bring here. I don't care who we bring here. If we don't support them with guys on the outside that can get separation, we got a guy today asking for $25 million a year, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson can't. I haven't seen him get separation all year. He's a good athlete. He just don't get separation. Darnell Mooney, he's a guy that gets some separation.
Yes, he does.
I like him a lot, but he's young, and that's just one guy. But I'm gonna show this clip, and I'm gonna try to with my camera. I think I gotta flip it around.
Hey, D-Ham, hold on. You gonna flip your camera to show it that way, or how you gonna try to show it?
Yes. Is it another way?
Okay.
Is it a YouTube clip?
Yes, YouTube clip.
In the chat, send me the link, and I'll take care of it.
Yeah, put it in the chat. You see right on the screen, you'll see chat.
Okay, let's see if I can get to it. All right.
But anyway, hey, when you mentioned about head coach having a difference with your head coach, I saw something earlier today. I was looking at something on Todd Gurley, and they were talking about when the Rams fired Jeff Fisher, and they brought in the current coach. And the first thing the player said, specifically Todd Gurley, he's also glad we moved from that middle school offense. that is that. I mean, he didn't even say college offense. He said a middle school offense.
I'm pretty sad, Bernard.
What's that?
I'm sad that we talking about the best quarterback we ever had, came from an era where we only had 48 states. Think about that. The best quarterback we ever had came from when the United States only had 48 states.
Yeah.
And by the time we were kids, and you know what, we just old enough to see that Sid Luckman was probably an AARP before we even knew who he was. You know,
absolutely. Because I actually thought Vince Evans was a great quarterback. The first Bears game I actually watched, Vince Evans threw, I want to say it was 6 or 7 touchdowns against Green Bay. I never forget it. I think it was in 1978, 77, or 76. Vince Evans threw 6 or 7 touchdowns against Green Bay, and they beat Green Bay like 66-6 or something. It was something like real stupid.
There's a clause in Bears history saying that you could suck as a quarterback, but if you beat Green Bay, you throw a lot of touchdowns, Green Bay, you're automatically considered great.
Right.
So
rightly so.
Right, and that's and that ain't my thing. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them fans that like as long as we beat Green Bay, we okay. Because that means if we beat Green Bay twice a year, we 2-14. That ain't impressive. So
this year, if we beat Green Bay twice a year, we probably would have been 11-5.
11-5. Or 10-6.
Okay, I got it up. This is a 22-minute video, so we can show as much as you'd like to see, and then let me know when to stop it.
Can you guys hear me? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Bernard, I got it loaded up, and we can start whenever you're ready.
Can you hear us?
And we just pick a few here and there for D-Ham.
Way now will fire. That hit his man at the 40. Oh, look out! Sammy Watkins takes it all the way. Explosion in Jacksonville. 68-yard touchdown. Put them on the field.
Oh my goodness!
On the third play,
you're gonna go from these guys. Come on, man.
Man, that's just like a grown man in a foot race with some fetuses, man.
Well, back to Ryan, Dan, and Evan.
1001, 1002, 1003.
Get rid of the ball. Wide open.
Yeah, but look at that separation, though. Well,
look at that.
What?
The Legion of Zoom.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Some of that separation is kind of unusual for NFL receivers. Usually, you don't have that much separation. I mean, that's a testimony of how well their offense run, how good of a quarterback that.
That might be a good offensive coordinator. What do you think?
Yeah, because they got separation because NFL. I mean, in reality, NFL is I see your number and you open. That's all it is in NFL. So I would say, hey, Allen Robinson may not have no separation, but he was open every play because some of the catches he made were ridiculous. So if you put the ball on the numbers, but I'm looking at some of them highlights the in the Kansas game. I mean,
they played 7-on-7, man. And
what y'all also have to understand is a good offensive coordinator, they scheme their players open. So they might not be fast.
That's
right.
If they can scheme them open just with the play, it works out the same way. It works out the same way. And Nagy did that in 2018 in his first year. He schemed players open. If you watch the offensive highlights from 2018, it was some players running down the field wide open, like, oh my God, this dude wide open. Mm-hmm. It's because he schemed players open. So your players don't have to be fast, but if you got a good offensive coordinator and you can scheme players open, it works the same way. But these highlights right here, I mean, that's Kansas City. That's ridiculous, man. That's criminal.
And you didn't even show Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying? Right. He didn't even show Tyreek Hill. That would have been like, man,
that's PlayStation.
Yeah. And that my point here, in no way am I trying to compare Mitch to Patrick Mahomes. In no way. However, there's a significant difference when you're throwing the guys with,
speed,
small holes. Then you have guys running wide open. So support and system. Those are the two things that I was just going to touch on: the supporting cast and system. That is important, extremely important. I tell it when I had a conversation. I say, man, Patrick Mahomes. I truly hope that he take care of them offensive coaches for the rest of their lives, because that supporting cast and that system has made this man the highest paid player to ever play the game. And would he beat Patrick Mahomes in another situation?
Absolutely.
You comparing Patrick Mahomes to Trubisky is like comparing Beyonce to Wendy Williams.
Oh, not Wendy Williams again. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. My stomach hurt.
But to go back to your point, that's always been my thing. When people talk about, the Bears passed up on Patrick Mahomes, will Patrick Mahomes be the Patrick Mahomes that we know right now if he was a Chicago Bear?
Well, here's the thing, Jay.
That's all I'm saying.
He wasn't Patrick Mahomes when Nagy was his coordinator. Think about that. Nagy had him the first year, and Mahomes sucked. Think about that.
So
is it Mahomes?
Or is it the system?
Common denominator.
Or is it the coach? Is it the coach? So
the Bears ended up hiring Nagy despite him having one of the worst playoff losses in history. Think about that.
Yeah.
So this is the coach that we got leading us now.
Yeah. But again, I still want to put it out there. I like Coach Nagy as a head coach. I just don't like him as a play caller. I will continue to say that.
Okay,
I've been saying this since 2019. I like Nagy as a head coach, but as a play caller, I don't like him.
So, but you know what, and it's interesting that you say that too, because you know what, the difference between what I saw with Laser as opposed to Nagy is, it's like I always say, there's certain things I look at, like for example, people say, oh, we need a quarterback that can hit a guy in the numbers from 12 yards. Every freaking quarterback that comes into the league should be able to do that. I don't even think about stuff like that because it's a given. Mm-hmm. Most guys like a Laser, if you notice like the cohesion of plays when he would call the plays, you ever notice different rub routes that he did to get guys open? You ever look down the field on the play tape and look up with Mooney's on there? Mooney's like about 4 or 5 yards ahead. He's fast. Some of them rubs, some of them are just straight up play calling, knowing his personnel or what he has. You know, it's like it's like me if I run a 5.50 but you got me on a fly pattern against a cornerback that runs a 4.3. I ain't gonna never get open. But if you come and give me a slant and I go out, then maybe I have a chance because I have my skateboard then. But the point is, a lot of guys, when I looked at Nagy, when he was calling plays and do stuff like, for example, everybody, Stevie Wonder, Helen Keller, and everybody knew that when Cornell Patterson was in the one man in the back, they was running jet sweep. What did Laser do? He put him in the back and faked it, and even the defense was like, man, they were supposed to run a jet sweep. That's what it's all about, but I'm with you, D-Ham. I'm totally with you.
And you know what was crazy? Well, not crazy, but frustrating to watch the Tampa Bay actually run. Not Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. That was what was that? They ran. It was actually New Orleans. They ran the play.
That Bears ran.
That's what I said.
And if they was Jameis Winston to actually get back at Tampa Bay, right? It was almost like I think with let Jameis get a score. Yeah.
Jameis Winston's only touchdown pass was the same play that the Bears ran where Javon Williams dropped the ball.
But how about the pimp slap against New Orleans when we played them and they brought in Hill as the quarterback and then they turned around and it wasn't them, it was the Rams. We didn't lose that game. We got beat up. It's one of them games where you go back and lock and say we lost. What was the icing on the cake? They ran the jet sweep 3 times and got plus yards. I'm like, son of a soul or something like that. I was so
Hey, did y'all see all the defense? We about to wrap up in the next minute or so, but this week all the defensive coaches that the Bears lost this week. I found that's kind of interesting because one is, was there opportunity for promotion? Right, when a guy leave, maybe there's opportunity for promotion. But why do people leave jobs? I think for certain reasons, especially for a lot of them who actually took lateral moves to other places. Some of them did not even go to a higher position. They actually took lateral moves. And I'm just thinking about like my career or maybe some of y'all careers. When you take lateral moves and it's not for more money, it's because you don't like the place you work at. You may just say,
the people you
I'm
work
just
with.
going here, even though I'm doing the same exact thing.
Well, you can say that.
Some people might have got
say that.
What's that, Jay?
You can say that, but at the same time, you have to look at it as like they looking at the coach as like a lame duck coach. So if I'm a secondary coach, and I know now you got 1 year left on this contract, and I got the guy in Houston wants to hire me, and he got a 5-year contract, then I might as well go with him because at least I know I'm going to get at least 3 or 4 years with him versus being a lame duck coach with Nagy. So
put it right on the wall. Well, you notice how when we were sitting up and talking about when we lost in the playoffs, it's like, what's going to happen? Next day, what happens? Pagano's gone. And it was almost like, oh, yeah, that's why. Well, what we're going to do is such and such. And we all sat up here was like, yep, they had to have a hatchet man to do whatever. And if I'm a defensive guy and I'm looking at them, I'm like, you know what? I'm coming next, and baby needs shoes.
I might as well go ahead.
Need a coat. You know what I'm saying?
Might as well have blamed the tall boy on that one, or the water boy.
Yeah.
He had less to do with losing than anything.
That's a valid point as well, Jay, what you said. That is also a reason why people leave. But just to add to that is, at the most time, coaches don't out of belief that they're going to lose. Coaches think if we put a couple of players here, we can fix this. But if you coaches do think it's a lame duck, right? If they think it's a lame duck, that means they have no confidence in the situation as well, right? So they're doing what you're saying because why? I lack confidence that this team is going to do better next year. So I'm going to get out of here so I can get a more secure situation. So I just found that interesting that they said, I guess the main point I kind of make that they said Pagano retired, which to me adds to the suspicions that, you can walk down the stairs, you can take the stairs.
Oh, we going to push you down.
Right? You want to take, right?
And that's the
point you walk out on your own.
That's the point I was going to make. I said that's the point I was going to make with the assistant coaches. Language is very important. Thinking about the person Coach Matt Nagy is, I truly believe he gave those assistant coaches the opportunity to leave. He could have fired them. But I think he gave them the opportunity to leave with using, without tarnishing their careers. You get a fire on your hire. We know how that looks. Yeah. So I think he gave them that solid. Secondly, the defensive coordinator, and I can't think of his name right now. I'm excited about him.
Me too. Me too.
Decide. Me
too.
I blame Matt Nagy because he should have been the guy hired as the defensive coordinator before Chuck Pagano.
I said that last week.
So there's a reason why the Bears blocked. Vic Fangio wanted to bring him with this kid. He wanted to bring him with him to Denver. And the Bears blocked it.
Yep.
So if you knew he was good, why wasn't he your defensive coordinator?
Right.
Right. Didn't the Bears fire all their offensive coaches last season?
Yeah.
That did so. That really worked out.
Yeah, we gotta come back. We gotta finish this next week. We gotta finish this next week, man. This was getting on the road, man. Yeah. Man, let's pick this up next Friday. What y'all think? Y'all want to pick it up? I know we're going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll pick it up next Friday. Pick it up next Friday and talk about the Super Bowl.
I always wanted to know a quarterback's perspective on what was going on with this whole thing, man. Thanks, brother. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We may have to do 2 shows next week. We may have to do one after the Super Bowl as well. But
yeah,
anyway,
absolutely,
like to thank everybody
absolutely.
Tonight and Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch TV. Thank you for your support. Peace.
Peace, God.